Okay, so I'm just going to kick off. We've got a small group of us today, so great to see you all introducing yourselves, and please use the Q&A function. We'll be coming to a more formal Q&A at the end. So I will not be answering questions through the session, but we'll take them all at the end, and hopefully a lot of them will be answered as we go through. As you can see on the screen, today this information session is about Reforge, which is a scale-up education programme that is run as part of Techscaler, which is the Scottish Government's platform to develop tech startups across Scotland. So if you're here for any other reason than Reforge and Techscaler membership, then you may be in the wrong Zoom meeting, but hopefully you'll continue to join us and find out more about all the interesting things we have going on. Please do drop in where you're from and where you're joining from today. And if you're using the webinar chat, you can change it to be to everyone rather than just the panelists and the host, so that everyone can see where you're joining from. I'm Shona, I'm VP Programs at Codebase, and I'm currently leading on the Reforge partnership that we have. I'm actually out in San Francisco this week and meeting with some of the Reforge team here, as well as attending another conference to see what other people are doing in this space. I think that's everything for the intros. Is everyone in the right webinar? I think, and happy to continue. This is being recorded, so that people who weren't able to join us today can see the information that we have available. So I think Molly will just pop that in the chat as well. So that's just one thing to be aware of. And at Codebase, we do have a code of conduct for all of our events in person and online. There'll be a code of conduct link heading into the chat function as well. But it's essentially be nice to each other, be respectful of other people's opinions, and let everyone have a space for open discussion. So have a look at the link there. So I'll be running us through this session today. I have a little bit of an agenda, and you have to bear with some tech bits. I haven't got my second screen here. So today we'll be running through what is Techscaler a little bit. If Techscaler is new to you, some of you on the call may already be Techscaler members or aware of Techscaler. And then what is Reforge, and how is that a benefit of Techscaler membership? What does it mean for you? Who is it for? Who is eligible for it? And who benefits from it the best? Which programs are available in this upcoming autumn cohort that we have launching in a few weeks' time? What the format of Reforge is, how to enrol, and then what the key dates are. And we'll have space for Q&A at the end as well. So key faces you can see today. Molly is one of the education program coordinator at Codebase and has been diligently squirreling away in the background, making sure that Reforge is ready for everyone in autumn 2023 and earlier in the year as well. And you may have had communication with her on that. I'm Shona, I'm VP Programs at Codebase, so I look after our formal education programs as a part of Techscaler and other contracts that we deliver to support the education of tech startups and to help make them more successful and to make building and growing a startup more enjoyable as well. So please do let us know if you have any questions. You can message us in the chat, and you'll be probably, if you're part of Techscaler or other programs that we run, you'll have met lots of others of the team as well who are supporting in the background, but this is the two faces you've got today. So to start with, what is Techscaler? Just in case this is less familiar to you as well. Techscaler is the Scottish Government's platform to help people launch and scale tech startups across Scotland. It's a cross-sector partnership led by us at Codebase, and is made up of founders, educators, entrepreneurs, mentors, councils, co-working spaces, enterprises and grassroots organisations. We're bringing together the Scottish tech ecosystem to all work together to support founders and would-be founders to start and grow their tech startups across Scotland. And we have 4 key elements of this. So the first being education, which is what we're here to talk about today, or first for me anyway, because that's my responsibility. And that's the formal education programs that run as a part of Techscaler, and I'll run through what those are in the next couple of slides and where Reforge sits within those. We also run mentorship, which follows startup founders from inception of their companies all the way through to sort of growing mega scale ups across Scotland. We work with many experienced startup operators and experts in their fields to link startup founders in Scotland with people who can support them one-to-one on their journey. And that may change based on where you are at the moment. Maybe you're fundraising, maybe you're looking at launching, maybe you're looking at expanding into new geographies, and you'll be linked with mentors who can support you in the specific elements of what you're currently focused on. Community is the third pillar of Techscaler, and that's that essentially everyone in the community can mentor each other, and that some of the best learnings come from connections and from creating space for people to talk, to ask questions, to work together on new things, and just to come together either in online spaces or in physical spaces. And then that's where our workspaces come in. So across Scotland, we have 6 hubs in Inverness, Aberdeen, Dundee, Stirling, Glasgow and Edinburgh, and hopefully to come soon in the south of Scotland, possibly Dumfries. And these are spaces where people can come to co-work, to get small offices, or to meet events that we host in our workspaces. And the workspaces are designed to offer you space throughout your startup journey. So we have a variety of different types of spaces available. All of this information can be found on the Techscaler website. So it's techscaler.co.uk. And so if you haven't come across some of these things, or you're interested in the events we run as part of our community programme, in the different workspaces we have in those regional hubs across Scotland, or in the educational mentorship programmes, then you can have a look at what's available on the Techscaler website, and also sign up to become a member to access those benefits if you haven't already done so. So specifically today, we're talking about Reforge, which is one of our education programs. So that sits in that education pillar of Techscaler. We've got a rough education pathway. It's not a linear pathway, as everyone knows. Building a business, especially a tech business, doesn't happen in a straight line. There's lots of wiggles along the way. But essentially, our programs are split to cover different phases of the startup journey. So the first program we offer is Startup Basics. That's an online self-paced course that can be accessed via our online community platform, which is called Mighty Networks. The platform is hosted by Mighty Networks, but it's a code-based Techscaler community platform. It's self-paced online program that takes you through various unique elements of growing a tech startup, and has a number of reflection exercises scattered throughout to support you in putting into practice the learnings about how to grow a tech startup. It can actually be really helpful for a company that's at a different stage of growth. You don't need to be at inception. You could be further along and looking to reflect on where you've got to, and maybe just taking stock on what you're doing at the moment, and that can be a really good place to do that. Startup First Steps is for founders who've got an idea of maybe a problem area, a market, or a customer group that they'd be interested in solving a problem for. And it's a cohort-based program, 10 weeks, that takes you from idea through to launching an MVP, and what launching that product and acquiring your first customers might look like. We ran the first version of that for Techscaler April to June this year, and the next version is launching in January. So if you know any would-be founders who are interested in committing to their idea and seeing where they can take it, then the applications for that will be opening in October time. So keep an eye on that. And as with all of these programs, you need to be a Techscaler member to be eligible to enroll in those. And so just registering and applying for Techscaler membership is the first point in being able to access these programs. Startup Next Steps is our next cohort-based program. That's for startup founders that have launched a tech product and have it in market, and are looking to take it to the next stage of growth. So they may the compulsory requirements for that are that they have to have had active customers, either paid or free customers, but customers that aren't beta testers or sort of friends and family. And then they're looking to accelerate towards and beyond product market fit. And that may be things like developing the product, acquiring customers, expanding into new geographies, fundraising, all of those elements that might be at that stage of business growth. And they're starting to develop a team around them, not just founder-led. And then we head into the scale-up space, which is where Reforge sits. For us, tech scale-ups are tech startups that have reached product market fit and beyond, or around the product market fit area. And then they're looking to scale. So that may be, again, launching into new geographies, launching secondary product streams. You've definitely got a more established team who are working in specialist areas. And that's where we put our tech scale-ups. training programs. At the moment, our main program for tech scale-ups is Reforge, and that's the program that we are talking about today. And this is just a bit of a diagram as to how that that pathway looks in more detail just for the education programs. In between each of these programs, we don't expect it to be I do startup next steps and then I'm immediately ready for Reforge. It does take time to apply these lessons and to start to move between these different sort of eligibility stages. And also it's a non-linear progression. So if you may be joining Reforge as an employee in this cohort, and we may see you in 18 months' time having left the company you were working for and looking to start your own. So it's about recycling all of the education and all of the knowledge into the ecosystem and making sure that we can apply that and sort of expand the knowledge base that we have in Scotland. So specifically for today, what is Reforge? It's part of our advanced scale-up training stage of the Techscaler education pathway. Reforge is a San Francisco-based or Silicon Valley-based scale-up training provider who offer specialist programs in product, marketing, engineering, and growth. They have a few new programs that have launched, and I'll share some of those with you in the next couple of slides. They mix live cohort-based programs, which is what we have coming up in October, with on-demand access to content and community that help you to connect with other scale-up employees globally, and also access content, information, and knowledge, and also Q&A with some really expert scale-up operators to help you grow your company, develop your strategy, and really take your scale-up to the next level. The Reforge program is appropriate for the following businesses. So you must be based in Scotland. That's part of the Techscaler requirements, as it's a Scottish government funded program, and be a software product based company. So that means that the core business that you operate is a software product. You must have that product in market and be close to or have achieved product market fit, which helpfully for us, or not helpfully, doesn't have a specific definition, but is more based on some signals around your customer base, how much your growth is, if you're expanding into new markets, and how dominant you are in your area. And we also need these companies to have senior leaders or key staff dedicated to those specialist areas that I mentioned. So that's growth, product, marketing, and engineering. So it's likely that you'll have a head of or a manager, or maybe even some sort of VP or higher in these areas, and you're starting to develop teams in those specialist functions. There are some programs on Reforge that are suitable for founders, but it's mostly suitable for senior leaders and these key staff in these specialist areas that I've just mentioned. So Reforge have a number of core programs that they run. If you've been on it before, you might see Growth Series, which pretty much runs every cohort, and they roughly run 2 to 3 cohorts a year at the moment. But they do bring in new programs, and they also have not their core programs, but others that mean they run some in the spring and then they won't run them in the autumn, or they might launch new ones that don't do so well, so they don't run them again. So each cohort that we have running will have different programs available that you can join. These are the live cohort programs, so all the other programs that you may have seen in the past. So I don't know if I can see any here that are missing. So there's a product market fit fundamentals one, which doesn't seem to be running this time, but you'll be able to access the always on content related to those topics on the Reforge platform if you have membership. The way that we run membership as part of Techscaler is that it's a cohort, the membership we offer, you join a live cohort, that is your core membership, and then you get access to the always on content as a bonus on top of that. So these are the programs that are running in the autumn. You don't need to remember them or pick one now, but it's just to show you roughly what you would be signing up for. So the Growth Series is the one that I'll be joining this time, and that's looking at cross-functional growth across your company after you've hit product market fit. We've got a lot around AI that they're starting to develop, which are really interesting, and as you can see, lots of others in here. The thing to bear in mind is that if you look at some of these courses on the Reforge website, which Molly has just popped a link in for you, you might see that they have a fixed price per joining. As part of Techscaler membership, you get that as part of your free ticket essentially. So don't sign up for Reforge and then register, because it means we can't assign that live cohort seat to you. So wait for us to share with you the information about that, which I'll cover as we go through here. But just don't worry about the prices that you might see. They have started launching paid, like specific paid for courses recently that aren't the live cohort ones, and they've bunched some of those in here. So that's just a detail that you might want to be aware of. So the delivery format for Reforge, one thing to bear in mind is that the feedback from lots of people is that it's really intense. That's not to put you off, that's just to make sure you're prepped for what you're about to embark on. It is only between 5 and 7 weeks of that live content delivery. So that's the only bit that for you will feel very intense. But it, just as a warning, it is quite intense, and it is US focused. It's US delivery partners that we have here, so that can also feel a bit more intense in terms of the speed and way that they run through some of the topics. Each program is between 5 and 7 weeks. That includes an introduction weeks where you get to meet the cohort, meet the executives in residence who are running your program, and get introduced to the topic areas that are being covered. And then it's 4 to 6 weeks of live content delivery. Those sessions are 1.5 hours of live sessions per week. They're usually at about 3:30 or 4:30 UK time, because they run 2 San Francisco timed sessions per day for each cohort. One is UK suitable, and one, if you're a night owl or a very early bird, might be suitable. It's about 3 a.m. for us. So if you're traveling as well, you can always join a different session that week. And then in between that, they have what they call their always on platform content. So that's either the other cohort based programs that aren't running in this cohort. They also have always on versions of them that you can access. They have almost like knowledge wikis. So you can search for specific things that you're trying to solve for. Maybe you're looking at retention of customers on a SaaS product. So you can dip into maybe a 5-minute piece of content on that and problem solve. And they also have recordings of the sessions and pre-readings for every session. So there's lots of homework and also case studies per week as well. So the always on platform content is what you get access to as part of your Reforge membership. Within their platform, they have their own community channels. So they don't use Slack or other forms of community engagement. They have everything is within the Reforge platform. You get access to a directory of everyone else who's on the cohorts, so that you can see maybe if there's someone that you would like to connect with who's working on something similar or has a similar business model that you'd be interested in learning more about. You can access different channels based on the cohorts, the program that you are on, and you can also ask questions if you're running through the always on content and homework or pre-read related to your program. You can ask questions that the executives in residence who are running those cohorts will be able to answer. So there's lots of ways to interact. It's really a very interactive two-way platform, and it's essentially the more you put in, the more you get out. We also provide, as part of Techscaler, that fully optional, but they're peer-led focus groups, and we'll be setting those up to run per program. So all of the programs that you saw on the earlier screen, each of those, if we have Techscaler and Scottish-based startups on those programs, then we will link everyone together and offer some support for running peer-led focus groups, so that you can put your learnings into practice, start discussing some of these topics with people and get support for that. And you also have access to our mentors to be able to work with them one-to-one on putting your learning into practice as well. So it can be quite intense. It's very valuable, but it's also about considering whether you have the time and focus available in this cohort. So this runs from the 2nd of October, and depending on the length of your program, through to the 1st week in November or the 3rd week in November. So it's about thinking whether that time is something that you have available at this point in the year, because we do run, or Reforge do run these programs, their live cohorts, twice a year, so you can opt to join another one if this one isn't suitable for you. So it's really about considering if you've got that time to put in to be able to get that benefit back. So how do you enroll? How do you get started on Reforge? This QR code will take you directly to our Reforge information page, and that has all of the information that we've covered today, including FAQs, and an application form for Techscaler membership. So as we've mentioned, Reforge is a benefit of Techscaler membership. Techscaler membership is completely free. The minimum requirements are that you must be based in Scotland, or your company and senior leaders are based in Scotland, and you also are developing or have an idea for a tech startup, software product-based tech startup. Then all you need to do is apply via the Reforge landing page. So this QR code taking you direct there. And I think Molly will be popping a link in for you as well, so you can access it direct from our own website. I've got, yeah, that link is up there. So apply via the Reforge landing page, and that will give you sort of a super fast assessment for suitability for the Reforge program. Either way, if you meet those minimum requirements, you'll be accepted into the Techscaler membership. You'll have access to online community, to our education programs, and once you have a product in development, if you're at earlier stage, then also access to mentorship as well. We also have loads of events running throughout the year. I think I've spotted Kelly on the call, who's our national community head of national community at Codebase, and runs loads and loads of online and in-person events across our hubs that are related to networking with people working in similar roles, learning from experienced startup founders, get expert workshops, and there's all sorts available. And actually one of the events we have this week, if you're near one of our hubs, is tomorrow morning, 8:30 in every hub. We have an open coffee morning called Unfiltered. And so if you're near Aberdeen, Inverness, Dundee, Stirling, Glasgow or Edinburgh, please join us at 8:30. You do need to register because we have limited space in those hubs, but we'd love to see you there so we can have a chat and find out what you're up to. Once your company has applied for Techscaler membership, and it needs to be a lead applicant who's a founder or someone who has decision-making responsibility in that company, you'll receive an invitation to opt the company into Reforge membership if that's eligible to you. And then, so what happens next is we will follow up with information on how the company lead can nominate individual employees to join Reforge. And then those nominated employees will be sent an invite from our Reforge account to register their account and enroll in a live cohort. We realize this is quite an admin heavy number of steps. Admin hopefully mostly on our side, and it should be seamlessly smooth for you. But please do wait for the invitation from our Reforge account to set up your account. So we have to register your seat under our account, which will trigger an invite to your nominated employees to set their account up. And then that means that they get free access to the Reforge cohort that they want to join. If you set up an account outside of that, it's not easy necessarily to transfer that seat over. It just takes a little bit longer, so we just don't want you to miss that first session. So if you already have Reforge membership and are looking to transfer that over to Techscaler membership, do get in touch so that we can make sure that happens before the 2nd of October. And key dates, so I've got the QR code here still, so if anyone hasn't registered for Techscaler membership, just you can head straight there. 11th of September, which is a week yesterday, company Techscaler applications closed. So this means your company must have applied for Techscaler membership before the 11th of September in order for us to be able to process this all in time. It may seem quite far in advance for the 2nd of October start date, but as I sort of referenced just in that earlier slide, there are quite a few steps for us to just jump through in terms of making sure that you're enrolled in time. Then you will be sent, so once that application closes on the 11th of September, we'll make sure that all Reforge opt-in emails are sent out that week, and you've got the deadline of 17th of September to enroll your company in Reforge. If your company is eligible for Reforge and suitable for that stage of our education programs, but you are doing something like launching a new product, fundraising, or have a big company away week coming up in that time period, you can opt to join, to be put on the wait list for the next cohort. Because as I said, it is quite a time commitment and you get out as much as you put in. So essentially, if one of those things is happening, or something else, big hiring spree, change in direction, new strategy, new CEO, whatever it is that you're going through that means that your team may not be able to fully participate in this cohort, please just pick that on the options, pick the waitlisting for next time. We'd expect the next cohort to open in March, so it's not too long to wait, and you've just got to get through Christmas essentially. So that's 17th of September. And then once you've opted your company in, we will send you information on how to nominate your employees. So what you'd need to do is find the employees within your company who, one, would be eligible for those programs. So in those 4 specialist areas: growth, product, marketing, and engineering. And those who have the time available and will be able to fully commit to being able to take part in the program, with the ability to put that learning into practice in their own roles. So that nomination for those employees will close on 21st of September. If you've already been through some of these steps, you might have actually already received some of these forms to fill in anyway, so you might be further along in the process, but these are the sort of hard deadlines on it. We'll then, after the nominations for employees closes, we'll be adding everyone who's nominated and eligible to our Reforge account, and that's when they'll trigger that email to sign up to their Reforge account and enroll in a live cohort. We won't be doing that before the 21st of September because we will wait for all of the nominations to come in before we add those into our account. So between the 22nd and the 28th of September, all employees will receive their invitation to join Reforge, and they'll need to set up their account and enroll in one of the live programs. And then from the 2nd of October, we hand over to Reforge, and you'll be taking part in your cohort-based program. One of those ones, I think they have 18 running this season. So one of those 18 that I showed on the earlier screen. There are 2 things I've forgotten on the slide before, and that is just awareness for people that Reforge does fall under the subsidy control limitations through government funding. So subsidy control is a limit on the amount of government funded support private companies can receive. I don't think we've got the link prep to share, but Molly's got it, there we go. So just be aware that the Reforge membership will fall under that. So consider that if you are coming close to your limit, or you want to do something else in the next 3 years that might also be eligible for it, when you consider how many employees you nominate. And the other part is that because there is a financial implication to us adding you to a Reforge cohort, to the Techscaler program, that there is a requirement that there is active participation from every person who has Reforge membership, and we do have to monitor that because of those financial implications. And so we can only support people who are actively participating in being able to continue their Reforge membership. So those are the 2 things to consider for financial implications. It's completely free to you, but there are subsidy control limitations, and we will have to remove people who aren't actively participating in the program. But you will receive plenty of warning about that. We'll discuss any sort of special requirements with everyone. So it's not a hard removal. It's just we have to make sure that all of the seats that we pay for on Reforge are actively used. I think that might be everything. I realise I've whistled through that, and I'm also a little bit jet lagged, so you have to excuse the very croaky voice for the first time I've spoken today. Does anyone have any questions? I think we've added... I've also been nudged on another thing I forgot. I clearly wasn't reading my notes properly. So if you have any questions, or you're not sure whether the programs that are running in autumn 2023 for Reforge, which I will actually go back to that slide now. If you're not sure, 1, which one to take, or 2, whether any of them are suitable for you, Reforge are running a suitability event, I think they would call it, tomorrow. It's 5 p.m. UK time, I think, from what I've translated. And it's an information session about all of the programs they've got available, about how they run, and also about how to figure out which one is most suitable for you. You can also go to the Reforge course page, which gives you more information on each of the programs running, and does give you sort of the dates and times that they're running as well, so you can have a look at your schedule to make sure they fit. They run the same day every week at the same time, apart from there is I think, a 2-week period where the daylight saving hours for UK and the US don't match up. So there is a 2-week period where they're mismatched, but you will see that in the events. They send you like a calendar invite, and it puts it in the right time, which is helpful. So I think now that we've done that, I have remembered everything. Has everyone got the enrol link, which is this QR code, or the link that Molly shared in the chat, which is techscaler.co.uk/education/Reforge. No Q&A that I can see in the formal Q&A, but if anyone has one they want to send in the chat or in the Q&A, let me know. Sarah, the courses seem to be 2 weeks long. Do they vary in length? Most of the live cohort ones are 4 to 6 weeks long. They have launched some new one-off courses recently, which might be what you've seen. I think some of the AI courses are one-off ones, and I'm not sure, they may be shorter, but in general, their conventional cohort-based programs are 4 to 6 weeks long with the extra introductory week. And can you do more than one back to back? We only offer 2 seats per year for the cohort-based programs. So it's you can only have 1 cohort seat or 1 course seat for the autumn of 2023. If you choose to use that on a shorter program, then we won't be able to offer another seat for another program until spring 2024. But I will look into what you've just said there. Hopefully when I meet them this week, we'll be able to find out a bit more about that new format of courses that they've got available, which is what they call their marketplace courses. So you can pay one-off just to do a specific course rather than waiting till they have their cohort-based programs available. And that may be the one that you've seen on leading product teams. They also don't recommend you do more than one in a cohort, which we don't. That we wouldn't be able to provide more than 1 cohort-based ticket per cohort anyway. But it is intense, and to do it properly does take about half a day a week at minimum. So it is a 1 program time period, but you will be able to join another one in spring 2024. Paul Mitchell, how long does the access to the always on content last? It lasts as long as your membership lasts. So you will always have access to that always on content while you have Reforge membership. So that's something to consider when making sure you're engaging with your cohort, because if we have low or zero engagement from people in one cohort, we may not be able to offer you continued membership when the next cohort comes up. So you will continue to have access for it as long as you have Reforge membership. You're also able to convert to private membership if you don't want to be under the Techscaler requirements at any point as well. Reforge is an open platform for people who work for Techscaler, so you can always continue your membership that way. Robert, are there restrictions in terms of the type of SaaS that is accepted on the program? I'm developing a skill-based game that involves gambling. Ooh, interesting. I think the US have changed their requirements on gambling in the last few years, but that's just an interesting fact, not anything to do with answering your question. There are no restrictions in terms of the type of business that's accepted. I don't know if you're asking specifically for Techscaler or for Reforge. That's probably something that would be helpful to know. In terms of Techscaler, it will go through a review process to ensure that it's compliant with sort of, I don't know, general legal requirements in the UK for the type of business that you're operating, and also that it's it's ethically sound, which I'm sure it is. But then the second part is in terms of Reforge, there's no restriction. I think some people have found that it's quite SaaS heavy in terms of the concepts that they cover. But there are people who've worked for marketplaces, who've worked for mobile apps, who've worked for learning platforms, or run them or founded them. So there are lots of different types of executives in residence who support the programs and build the content, but it can be a bit SaaS leaning. SaaS being software as a service, for anyone who's less familiar with that phrase. and you're thinking more of Techscaler. So definitely worth submitting your application form and adding the detail as to what you're building, and then you'll have a discussion with someone if there's an issue. But if you're running in the UK and it's compliant, then I'm sure it'll be fine. But I can't answer that without seeing the detail of what you're building. So definitely submit an application with the detail, and that'll be reviewed by the team, and they'll get in touch with you, or submit a question to the Techscaler at, no, the opposite way around, membership@techscaler.co.uk email address, and then you'll be able to have a chat with someone about that. One question we do sometimes get is if there's a maximum number of people per company that can get access to the Reforge membership through Techscaler. We don't have a fixed number. We do have a limit per cohort as to the amount of people that we onboard onto it. So that may come into play if some companies are nominating more people than others. It's really about making sure that the people that you are giving access to Reforge to have the capacity to attend in full, and then to put that learning into practice. So really reviewing who it has best value for within your company at the time, because also there is that subsidy control element to it. So you are eating into your subsidy control limits. So it's really about thinking, like, considering that, and the fact that you may be able to switch seats into the next cohort if you have other people who may then benefit from it later on. And that's one that comes up quite a lot. But I think we've answered everyone's. Robert, would you be interested in sharing a link to your company? Who else is on the call? Sarah, I notice you're on the call as well. Anyone who wants to share a link to the company that they are building and working on, so that we can share interesting startups across Scotland between people here. And then I've got 5 minutes left, I think. So we're open to Q&A, or we're open to general chat and other questions if anyone wants, but otherwise I will gift you back 3 or 4 minutes of your Tuesday afternoon. I guess the last thing to make sure is just to confirm that applications for Techscaler membership, if you want to be considered for the next Reforge cohort starting on the 2nd of October, is the 11th of September. The cohort start date is October the 2nd, and the link to apply is in that long list of comments, but I will find it, or one of us will find it and add it back in. I'll get the QR code up for you. So if you haven't yet applied for Techscaler membership, make sure you do that, because even if Reforge isn't currently suitable for the stage or time commitments that you have as a company, there are lots of other benefits that you will get access to: our community events, our workplaces, and mentorship. And there may be some other support within there that is of interest to you. Definitely join our online community platform, and have a look through the Techscaler website, where there's a direct link to the community platform as well. So I think that might be it. Thank you for bearing with my early jet-lagged brain. I think we covered everything in the end. Hopefully we'll see some of you at our Unfiltered Coffee Mornings tomorrow, at an online event, or on one of our education programs soon.